Most players hear the word meta loadout and instantly think about the newest guns. The latest season weapons, the most recent updates, whatever just came out. But in that process, a lot of weapons get completely ignored. Not because they're bad, but because they're old. Some guns from previous Call of Duty titles were carried over into the current Black Ops 7 integrated Warzone, and most players don't even consider them anymore. So in this video, we're taking a closer look at two Modern Warfare 2 weapons that still deserve attention, and more importantly, still make sense in today's Warzone. Why this loadout works as a pair. The first important thing about these two weapons is how well they complement each other. This isn't about forcing an old gun into a role it can't handle. It's about balance. The Lachmann 5.56 covers close to mid-range engagements, where control and consistency matter most. The MX9 fills the close-range gap, where fast reactions and sustained fire decide fights. Together, they form a flexible loadout that works across most real Warzone scenarios. Lachmann 5.56, controlled mid-range power. The Lachmann 5.56 really shines in medium-range fights. Its biggest strength isn't raw damage, it's stability. The recoil pattern is predictable, visual recoil is relatively low, and bullet velocity remains consistent. That makes tracking targets far easier during longer engagements. At extreme long ranges, this isn't a weapon you want to rely on, but inside typical Warzone engagement distances, it performs extremely well. In a game where visibility, server consistency, and third-party pressure constantly disrupt fights, a weapon that stays controllable under stress becomes incredibly valuable. The Lachmann 5.56 rewards patience, positioning, and accuracy, not aggressive spray and pray gameplay. On paper, the Lachmann 5.56 doesn't look like a top-tier meta weapon, but once you look at the stats, a different picture starts to form. With a fire rate around 723 RPM and a bullet velocity of over 1,000 meters per second, this gun performs extremely well in realistic Warzone ranges. Thanks to strong vertical and horizontal recoil control, this weapon is incredibly stable in the 20 to 50 meter range, which is where most Warzone gunfights actually happen. Long range? That's not its strength, and that's fine. This isn't a long-range beam. Let's talk about the build. Echoline GSX suppressor boosts bullet velocity and keeps recoil under control without destroying ADS. 15.9-inch Lachmann barrel improves damage range and velocity, making mid-range fights far more reliable. Holger vertical underbarrel reduces horizontal recoil and makes tracking noticeably easier. 60-round magazine mandatory for Warzone. Lets you survive third parties and extended fights. This setup turns the Lachmann into a consistent mid-range workhorse, not a flashy meta pick, but a dependable one. MX9, forgiving and reliable up close. The MX9 plays a very different role, and it plays it well. This SMG isn't built around flashy burst damage or perfect close-range duels. Instead, it offers strong fire rate, manageable recoil, and forgiving handling. That combination makes it effective not just point-blank, but also in close to mid engagements, pushing buildings, holding tight angles, or cleaning up fights during third parties. Because Warzone gunfights are rarely clean or isolated, forgiving weapons like the MX9 often outperform statistically strength SMGs in real matches. It allows you to stay on target even when things get chaotic, and that consistency matters more than people realize. The MX9 is a very different story. It runs at about 741 RPM, with a close-range damage profile that really shines inside 11 to 20 meters. Bullet velocity is lower, around 530 meters per second, but that's completely normal for an SMG. Where this gun really stands out is forgiveness. The recoil is manageable, the mobility is strong, and the sprint to fire time makes it extremely effective in chaotic, close-range fights. On paper, the TTK isn't the fastest in the game, but in real Warzone scenarios, this gun stays controllable even when your aim isn't perfect, and that matters more than people think. Here's why this build works. Extended magazine, 50 rounds, gives you room for error and allows multi-kill engagements. Bruin HCR 56 stock. Improves recoil control and keeps the gun stable during full auto sprays. Close range focused attachments. Built around mobility, sprint to fire speed, and control, not long range stats. This isn't a lab gun, it's a real fight SMG. Why these guns still matter in today's Warzone? These weapons aren't meta, and that's the point. Modern Warzone doesn't always reward peak damage or perfect aim. It rewards consistency, control, and adaptability. Between visual clutter, audio issues, and unpredictable engagements, weapons that behave predictably often perform better in real gameplay than the newest high-risk options. The Lachmann 556 and MX9 don't dominate, but they don't fall apart either. So, no, these weapons aren't overpowered. They're not broken, and they're not trending on TikTok. But if you're tired of chasing every new meta and want something that actually works, these Modern Warfare 2 weapons are still very much alive in Black Ops 7 Warzone. If you enjoyed this kind of analysis, let me know, because there are more overlooked weapons like this. And if you're still sleeping on older guns, you might be losing fights you didn't need to.